for the people. Oh, her breath is so bad. It's so bad. What a difficult time to be a person who understands things and reads them and also knows exactly what the fuck is going on.
Well, it's been a whirlwind of developments in the Eric Swalwell scandal, and his resignation from Congress is the latest big shoe to drop.
These allegations of are flat false.
Eric Swalwell announced he would quit the California governor's race after misconduct allegations that led to a nearly immediate campaign collapse.
Eric Swalwell resigned from Congress on April 14th, 2026 at exactly 2 p.m. Eastern Time after a whole lot of this.
On the third occasion, I believe he took my drink. We were supposed to go to a political event, and he said he needed to get paperwork from his hotel room.
And listen, I can tell you with pretty damn clear certainty that it is only going to get worse. Honestly, the worst is yet to come. And I'm going to show you exactly why. And listen, if you follow me across all social channels, which if you don't, now would be a good time to do that, you might know that I interviewed Eric in studio in November. I made it clear that this was not an endorsement, and it just so happened to be the last elected official I interviewed. I was done after that. My intuition was setting off alarm bells, and so were the credible contacts in my direct messages. And I drew a hard line in the sand after that and started having conversations with women who I trusted and who went on to bravely break this story. We're going to get into all of that and how it's going to get worse and what's coming next and more on the latest victim speaking out. But first, I want to ground us in the present. On Tuesday, he released a statement about working with his staff to serve his constituents. And then he was gone. Nothing left but a shitty, damning, guilty trail left behind. Eric Swalwell knew what he was doing. Many Democrats knew exactly what he was doing. And those folks are now in total panic mode as more Swalwell crimes begin to leak. The moment a congressman resigns, the House Ethics Committee loses all jurisdiction over them. He calculated that, and he timed his exit accordingly. There was an expulsion vote coming. An accuser had just held a press conference in Beverly Hills. 3 more women had contacted her attorney within 24 hours of that press conference. He left because every other option for him had closed. Doors slammed in his face, and justly so. The people who kept him there have not been asked to answer for it. And real quick, I'm Lauren Paritra. I showed you Willa Paritra. That's my work for the day. And I'm going to ask you to take a moment to please make sure you're subscribed. We currently have a lead on Katie Miller, who is the wife of Stephen Little Bitch Miller, the pale white nationalist behind so much of this ICE and immigration terror. And we got to work together. The least we can do is maintain our lead out of pure principle. So every sub, every hype, every comment, every follow across chat channels and wherever you listen to your podcast, every action, every hype, comment 6 words or more, save, share, every one of those, consider that an FU to Katie and Stephen Little Bitch Miller. And let's just throw Swalwell in there too. So this, I got to be so clear, was who Swalwell always was. Everyone knew him as this. I found out right away too. I didn't know the full extent of it, but I know that when there's smoke, there's usually fire. Eric Swalwell resigned from Congress Tuesday because he was under criminal investigation in 2 jurisdictions. He left not because he was doing the just thing. He left because he had to. And the system he left is left behind. The system that kept a man viable long after it had reason to not. Okay? Eric Swalwell never thought he'd get caught. He was super self-promotional. He was thirsty, always thirsty for more. This man ran for president in 2019. And before a single vote was cast, he saw himself out because he had no real rationale. He just wanted power. He was always trying to show his face on cable news, pretending to be mad about Trump just for attention. And this is who he was. In this video, this is where he knows damn well how he's been behaving, and he's using his wife as a decoy, as a shield for his piss-poor behavior. And in this video, my favorite part about this video is he only talks about himself.
Do you ever think I'd run for governor?
Absolutely not.
Did you think I could be governor?
Didn't cross my mind.
You ready to do like a public endorsement video?
I don't think you need mine. You have Adam Schiff.
He also issued this statement that he unequivocally denies each and every allegation of misconduct that has been leveled against him. Wow, 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 wow. Victim, 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 victim. These accusations are false, fabricated, and deeply offensive. Your face is deeply offensive. And he said it was a calculated political hit job to destroy the reputation of a man who spent virtually 20 years in public service. Okay, pardon me while I barf in a fucking bag. The timing, nature, and coordinated rollout of these vile and heinous allegations speak for themselves. This is neither about justice nor about the truth. This is a ruthless and shameless attempt to smear Congressman Swalwell. Congressman Swalwell has devoted his career to defending the Constitution, protecting civil liberties, and standing up to those who abuse power. That line in and of itself makes me want to barf in a bag and yeet myself out of a window. He has never wavered in that fight, and he will not waver now. We will fight these despicable and baseless accusations with the same tenacity, courage, and conviction that has defined the congressman's public service. We are confident that the truth will prevail, and we will pursue every available legal remedy against those responsible for orchestrating this reprehensible campaign of lies. Okay. I mean, where do I even begin here? Listen, disgraced Swalwell is a fucking pig. You guys know that less than 1% of rapes are falsely reported, that most women don't even report when these crimes occur. And I need you, before you even come for me, because we're going to talk a lot about this today, because I trust this audience to be smart and self-assured and bright enough to take this in. We need to resist the reflex to protect men accused of predatory behavior. If you feel uncomfortable by learning that somebody you care about, or you endorsed, or you supported, or you thought was a good person has done something terrible, you need to resist your impulse to defend men accused of predatory and dangerous behavior. If you feel uncomfortable, that is the perfect time to listen. If you don't know what to say, it's a great time to shut the fuck up. Because what? In an era of Trump, you find it so hard to believe that a man in a position of power behaved badly and took advantage of younger subordinates, got a little dick picky with a little Snapchat, or younger subordinates. Oh, I can't possibly believe a man behaved badly in a position of power in the year of 2026 with Trump as our president, who was known for raping children in fucking daylight. Come on. I need you to really think about this. Your experience with people is not the measure of everyone else's reality. Your experience is not the be-all, end-all story. And one perspective and one good experience with somebody does not override somebody else's testimony. You believing somebody is a good guy, and that good guy having done something fucking terrible, is not something that's mutually exclusive. That's actually especially how it works, especially with narcissists.
Enough is enough. It's really appalling. I'm glad at least these two have stepped down. There are two more who are being investigated in Congress for misconduct and facing expulsion.
Narcissists are effective at both charming and abusing because the same core traits drive both behaviors. We're going to get into this, and I'm going to get back to this Swalwell stuff, because this man has also had a reputation. Politico documented it. Multiple outlets described his BS as an open secret amongst people who actually worked on the Hill. That reputation was circulating while he sat on the House Intelligence Committee, while he campaigned for governor, while he voted to say thank you to ICE. You guys remember that? I do. While colleagues stood behind him and beside him at rallies and put their names on his endorsements. Okay? So enough. Washington knew, and they let it happen, just like they did with Fang Fang. And Fang Fang was one of the first calls that I got, not Fang Fang herself, but when I put that I was going to be talking to Swalwell, and I wanted to make it clear to my audience this was not an endorsement, but I wanted to have a conversation, people came rolling in with stories. We're going to get more into that. But one of the stories was Fang Fang. This was debunked and dismissed. Again, where there's smoke, there's fire. In 2020, the FBI briefed Swalwell about Fang Fang. That is her name. She was a suspected Chinese intelligence operative who had cultivated a relationship close enough to trigger a counterintelligence investigation. Democratic leadership looked at that, and they left him on the House Intelligence Committee anyway. They did not fully investigate. This was all alleged, so that way he doesn't come for me because I don't have the right insurance policy. He walked back that like nothing happened, stayed for 6 more years. His reputation was not a secret. Plenty of information came flooding into me, and I felt something ain't right about this man. So that's when I started to have conversations with my peers. Politico documented this too. People on the Hill described it, again, as an open secret. And when he ran for president in 2019 and dropped out before a single vote was cast, a lot of people said that it had a lot to do with some shit he didn't want out. Fortunately, women continue to speak up. And again, I first found out about this when I was interviewing him. People poured in with Fang Fang, poured in with stories of him sleeping with staffers, So I reached out to other trusted women, and women were the ones to bring this story to the forefront. Women were the ones to put their careers and reputations on the line. I know I just experienced a small sampling of that, but the amount of people who told me I was a MAGA co-op, that I was a con artist, that I was trying to smear the Democratic campaign, stop blaming women for shit behavior of men. It is not my fault. There's also a deeply crowded race in California and about 45 other Democratic candidates that you can choose from, okay? Let's not put another predator in a position of power because we're afraid. We're not doing that. I don't care what color t-shirt you wear, blue, red, green. If you're a predator, you deserve to be far away from any position of public power. Okay, so Lana Drewis stood at a podium in Beverly Hills with an attorney and with evidence. She had texts, photos, journal entries, and she walked into the LA County Sheriff that same afternoon. She said he hurt her and hurt her until she lost consciousness. She didn't report it in 2018. She told you exactly why. My delay was driven by fear, not doubt, fear of how his political power, his legal background, and his family's law enforcement ties, those are honest fears. Think about, again, you speak out about somebody who's in a position of power. What does that do to your reputation? What does it do? That's why women have nothing to gain from speaking out on this. We are always the one who are going to take the hit. So she had fear, but she did not have doubt. She always knew what was happening, what happened, and she was calculating what it would cost her to say it out loud. And for years, the math didn't work in her favor. But within 24 hours of that one press conference, 3 more women called her attorney. 3 in one day. A former staffer told the Chronicle that the left her with and bleeding. It happened more than once. 2 other women said he sent them unsolicited photographs. The Manhattan DA opened a criminal investigation. The LA County Sheriff received formal evidence. He resigned, but he can't resign from any of that. And I can't help but think of the people who enabled him. The responses I got and my friends who really took this on and championed this thankless work, what they've received, what I received from other people on the left, from other activists, from other organizers, from other community leaders, leaders of organizations where I've volunteered a lot of my time and energy. And again, I need to say this one more time. You need to resist the urge to protect men accused of bad behavior. You need to resist the urge to impulsively defend men accused of this dangerous behavior. There is nothing to gain from women, and we need to stop blaming them for the behavior of predatory men. Eric Swalwell was in a position of power, and he took advantage of younger subordinates. He took advantage of other younger people who had an interest in politics, who had an interest in campaigning. You need to believe the reality around you. And I also think about the Democrats. Adam Schiff endorsed him. California's biggest labor unions endorsed him. Consultants tied to Gavin Newsom worked on his campaign. All of this, while it seemed to be a very well-known thing, that made its way into my direct messages very quickly. And I continue to see endorsements rolling in and interviews where people were not willing to hear what we had to say. And then look at Hakeem Jeffries, Speaker of the House.
Did you push Swalwell to resign? Did you push Swalwell to resign?
Member conversations that I've had will remain private.
Nothing to say, really? Nothing to say, nothing to denounce, no one to stand by. We will remember that. We will remember that. I will remember that. It really makes me appreciate the energy.
And I'm disappointed. I'm shocked. I'm beyond disappointed. Beyond disappointed. You know, we expect people in Congress and in our political world to tell the truth. And, you know, our people, before we endorsed him, asked him numerous times, is there anything we need to know? And he lied to us. All right.
So if you're not familiar, this guy was a candidate for the governor race in California, Steve Klobuchar. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing his name. I know this because at last year, 2025, I was invited to speak to the California Young Dems at the California Democratic Convention, Demchella. The party did not want anything to do with me. The Young Dems wanted me to speak to them about social media strategy. I've had about a 1,100% growth in the last year across all my channels, if not more. That's an actual statistic. And I wanted to help younger people who were also annoyed with the Democrats, annoyed with the system, want to throw it out and start over and want us to do better. And this guy had been, his team was there campaigning, handing out stickers. I remember it distinctly. So other powerful people accepted it. He might have too, because the race needed a front runner and asking questions was inconvenient and uncomfortable. And when the Chronicle published this, his campaign collapsed in hours. I was out at Coachella taking a much needed little break. I don't buy Coachella tickets, so don't come for me. My phone was blowing up. We knew this was coming, and I did everything in my power to talk to everyone possible and let them know, hey, he's done some bad shit. My friends know much more than I do, and these women don't owe you their trauma. And a lot of the responses I got were, why now? Why now? You tell me a better fucking time, Steve. And you want proof? You want proof. People were demanding proof in my direct messages on Threads and online, telling women to prove the most humiliating thing that's happened to them in their young life is the thing that's caused them so much stress and fear and anxiety and trauma, and you need them to prove it to you. The shame is not theirs to carry. And I'm so sorry so many people think they are entitled to somebody else's trauma because it inconveniences your opinion of some goofy fucking creep. Okay? And why now? You tell me a better fucking time. And you wonder why people don't trust you with their truth. What else are you mad about? Are you mad about looking stupid because you might have to throw your endorsement behind one of the other dozens of Democrats running who isn't sending dick pics on Snapchat? You're worried that you were treated well by somebody. Well, that doesn't mean that they treat everyone well. The bar for you believing somebody was hurt should not be higher than the bar you have for him to have hurt them. Your experience, and I'm not going to hold your hand when I say this, your experience is not the measure of everyone else's reality. One perspective does not override somebody else's testimony. And you not witnessing something or not having access to something is not proof it didn't occur. Okay? This is what makes these narcissists good and effective in silencing their victims. And you, when you dismiss their lived experiences because it makes you uncomfortable, you're a part of that too. Eric Swalwell types use their good reputation for kindness to abuse and manipulate people. These are two instruments in the same orchestra. These are tools for manipulation and ruse. And then there's Gallego, okay? Ruben Gallego, somebody I phone banked for, watched Swalwell's kids. He endorsed his gubernatorial campaign. He was bold enough to be snapping back to survivors and advocates of survivors of SA on Threads. Not a good look, Senator. Not a good look. And reporters, when they finally cornered him after the allegations broke, he came out and said, it was flirty. We've heard that throughout. He heard rumors, and his threshold for concern was, no, he has a wife. Maybe it's not true. Bullshit. You cannot tell me you travel with a friend, it's your best bud, and you've been working together, and you know nothing. The I messed up would have meant something if he hadn't taken this so long. And it's not over. Eric Swalwell resigned. He did not resign because he's a good, just guy. He did it because he wanted to walk away from the investigation. The criminal investigation, however, it's not going anywhere. He's a private citizen now, and he's under active investigation in 2 jurisdictions with prosecutors who don't have to calculate any political costs. His colleagues, the endorsers, and the leadership that saw every red flag and decided it was somebody else's problem, they're all in front of the camera now. And we're going to be keeping an eye on them because they know enough, every single one of them. And I'm going to ask them, do you believe women now? Do you think you're going to accuse my friends of being paid by MAGA? All this stuff is public record, by the way. You can see which candidates in time, who paid who. And this is not the last we're going to hear of this. There are many more people with very bad public reputations. And these reputations exist in small circles in DC. And that info is coming out. And we're going to continue to see more of it. And I am going to continue to hold power accountable, regardless of what team they're on. And I hope you join me in doing that. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you want more of. And we'll continue diving in.